Good morning. This is the day the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. I am Pastor Marianne Kellenbach, pastor at Living Faith Church, which is located in the community of tradition in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And today is Wednesday, May the 12th, in the year 2021. It is hard to believe where we were 1 year ago. Many of us were still in that lockdown mode. And here we are 1 year later. There is a vaccine that is available for everyone to be able to take soon. Our 12 to 16-year-olds, they will authorize use of the vaccine so that we can continue to be safe in this world and where this virus is rampant. And we continue to pray for those in other countries, especially in India, who is suffering terribly from the ravages of this virus. We continue to hold them in prayer. We focus again this week on creation and the creation story. Remember, this is a poem. It is a beautiful poem in its original language of Hebrew. It is magnificent. It loses the fact that it's such beautiful poetry when it's translated into a different language. And in our particular case, when it is translated into English. But we continue. Yesterday, we focused on day 3, or the beginning part of day 3 of creation. That was Genesis. Again, we're in chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. And that's the beginning part. And we want to stop there today. Tomorrow we'll take a look at the remainder of the creation activity that happened in day 3. But today we're just going to talk about the beginning part, because that is what God also deemed as good. In each act, in each God speaking into existence something that didn't exist before, God deemed it as good. God saw that it was good. Tov is the word in Hebrew. Tov, good, in harmony with God, created by a God who is good and who is great. And so in that creation, God deems it as good. So we're going to listen to that scripture again this morning, but it's going to be scripture from the translation of the Message. Close your eyes, and I want you to visualize this now. So what we now have is light. We also have the sea the waters hovering over the void, over, being separated now. There being a division, and what's put in between is called sky or firmament, and there's water above and there's water below. So that's what we have. Let's now move to the next step. God spoke, separate. Water beneath heaven gather into one place. Land appear. And there it was. God named the land earth. He named the pooled water ocean. God saw that it was good. In the devotion yesterday, I wanted you to imagine those places as you walked about the day, that we may not see the goodness or the usefulness, and yet God still deemed that portion of the earth or the land as good. We may see that also with ocean, the vastness of the ocean. But I think we tend to think of ocean not being a place that is not considered quote unquote good. But land, we may look at some land and say, what good is it? It's not about the usefulness of it. It's about what God called it. God deemed it good, Tov, in harmony with God. So I want you to think about sand. You go to the ocean, you put your toes in the sand. Hopefully it's cool enough that you can put your toes in the sand. And doesn't it feel good? Especially as you dig deeper and deeper And that sand, you can actually sometimes feel the moistness of the sand. That's really where, when you're at the beach, there's that separation, right, between the land and the earth. And I just love that, where you can actually see or visualize where God called the water to come together, and the land where the water no longer was to be called the earth. In this particular case, we're talking about sand. And so you can actually visualize that place. Again, it's poetry, so we need to keep that in mind. But it is wonderful to think of that very spot where we can see and visualize where the water was gathered together in one place, and what remained was the land. Take a picture out or visualize in your mind's eye this morning about you digging your toes into the sand at the beach. Living here in Florida, we're able to do that. And I'm hoping that maybe some of you may be on vacation this year will be able to do that. Or maybe you will be by a lakeside and you can stand by that lakeside and see that place where the earth is uncovered because the water has separated either into a pool, which is a lake, or an ocean. And I want you to dig your toes into that dry land to the point where it does get moist, because it does get moist. And think about the fact that when God spoke this earth into being, the land and the sea, that when God spoke those words, it not only happened, but God saw that what happened was good. Dwell in that space today, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Blessings.